Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Presents Prom Night. My name is Sean,
I'm Missy.
And I'm Tori.
and we're going to the prom. So I've
Woo!
got a handle of cheap whiskey I'm going to spike the punch with. Got a bunch of blow.
I'm losing my virginity.
There you go, just like
Oops.
Michael Stipe. Remember that song by REM? That's me in the corner, losing my virginity.
Oh
Fucking
man.
hate REM, sorry. No, so we're not here to talk about REM. We're here to talk about Fear Street Prom Queen. This dropped on Netflix last week. Uh, Highly anticipated. There was previously a couple years ago the three-part Fear Street that was pretty good. I remember thinking the first one a little busy with needle drops, but I really liked it. Second one was the one where I was like, holy shit, they're like taking axes to kids. This is like more severe than I would have thought. And then the third one kind of lost me a little bit, but it was still good. Missy, what did you think of Prom Queen, Prom Street?
Fear Street Prom Queen.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll go spoiler free for right now. We might go to spoilers later. Listen for a chainsaw. If you hear that and you haven't watched this yet, then turn us off. What'd you think?
I thought it was all right. I had fun with it. I mean, it wasn't as good as I had expected. I really liked the trilogy from that came out in 2021. I thought that was like one of the horror events of the summer, and those were really solid. I love the first two, and the third one, I like the second half. I, I
Hmm.
don't I don't really like the old timey 1666 stuff when they come back around to the present. It wraps it up nicely, and I enjoyed it. Um, and I think that might be a little bit of what this one is suffering. That those were well received, and I think a lot of people were anticipating this, and then it, it's it's a very basic. It runs a very basic slasher formula, and and sure they try a little bit too hard to make sure we know it's the 80s, but I think it still had some fun kills. I mean, it still took me for a fun ride, and there's one kill in particular that I really liked. Um, it made me laugh. It leans into the camp. It's kind of just campy and gory and silly, and it's a. I thought it was a fun enough time waster for 90 minutes. I didn't regret my 90 minutes with it. I mean, it has a good soundtrack. I mean, I think it's a decent popcorn movie.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
I mean, it's predictable, and it runs a basic slasher formula, but I think it still has had some charm. There were a couple fun characters. I did like the horror loving best friend. So I mean, while it doesn't hold a candle to the first three, I thought it was a fun popcorn flick, and I mean, I could see myself putting it on again at 2 in the morning if I was just looking for a time waster.
Well, like you've said, that that formula, the slasher formula, is comforting to you. Some people
It
like
is
procedurals or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense.
right.
Most slashers are predictable, to some degree, right? So
Right.
that's not something we generally hold against them.
I love slasher movies, and they're when I say that I find the formula comforting. What I mean by that is I can put on any for the most part, I can put on any slasher movie, and I basically know what I'm getting into. And even if it's just a basic popcorn flick, there's still going to be stuff about it I enjoy. It's going to
Yeah.
hold my attention. It's probably going to have some fun kills, and uh, I I like those. I enjoy that. I fall asleep watching Jason movies all the time because I find them comforting.
No, it makes sense.
As every review I've read about it, it just seemed everybody hated it, and if you like slasher movies and you like the other Fear Street movies, or if you read some of those books, like I felt like this did have that feel. I used to read these in like junior high, and while I don't remember this being a specific like like a specific story, I it felt like those books. So, and if you liked those and you like slasher movies, don't go in with high expectations, but
Right.
I think it's a good popcorn movie. It's fine. It's not outstanding, but I don't think it's wretched either.
Okay. Tori, what'd you think of Prom Street Fear Queen?
Prom Street Fear Queen. Well, same thing with Missy. I love slashers. Like 80 slashers is one of my favorite genres of horror. And I understand like they're not going to reinvent the wheel. They have a formula. I'm fine with that. But this one did the formula, but did it so boring. And like I didn't like none of the characters I really cared about because it was just so like it felt so rushed to me. So yeah, it was like a very basic cutout to me of like the stereotype that they're trying to like depict. And
Fair.
I don't know, you could still add a little bit more depth. I mean, I can name a bunch of other like 80 slashers that are considered cornier, but at least got a little bit more character development involved. So that was one thing I was really bummed out about. And then the other thing too, I felt like this movie didn't know who to like market to. Like it seemed like they wanted to be kind of Disney movie-esque preteen, but then they had the gore for the adults. So I don't know. I felt like it didn't like I felt like it should have gone like super camp or super really lean into it. You know what I mean? Really,
One way or the other.
yeah, like
Hmm.
throw that tongue in that cheek, you know what I mean? Like take it fucking far. Like let's do it. Let's get a little like goofy with it and have fun. And I thought too, maybe I was just being kind of a brat because I really liked the first three. I thought they were great. I thought they were all cool for different reasons. Super gory. So I thought maybe, oh, it's just me being a jerk. Like I like those so much, so I'm really giving this a rough time. And I did even a second watch, and it was like, no, everything was just so boring and so like underdeveloped to me.
I can see what you're saying though about it not knowing who to market to. It definitely had that very like teen movie glitz to it, and it didn't help that all of the Mean Girls kind of look the same.
Yeah.
It didn't like even because I read all those books. Like I read all those books. I read all the Christopher Pike growing up. Like I
Hmm.
loved those. And even, being a young adult reading those, I felt like they were even scarier in the books than this was. And I don't know, it missed the mark.
I can see that. I think that it like I feel like they're really trying to lean lean in and grab those of us that read these books, but it did maybe miss the mark a little bit.
And yeah, like you could do that. You don't, the 80s thing, it didn't feel as like shoved down my throat as like Stranger Things season 3
Okay.
where that fucking season just annoys the shit out of me because they're like, hey, if you didn't know, we're in 1987. Hey, I'm playing the song from 87. It didn't feel too forced, but it's like just because you throw on neon lights and a synth soundtrack doesn't make a good 80s movie.
That's true. Maybe I think it tries a little too hard.
Yeah, it was like Disney made, you know what I mean? Like if Disney made the movie.
Well, I mean, so I've never read the books because all this stuff, like the R.L. Stein and the Christopher Pike stuff, was like after I had aged past that, right? So,
Hmm.
I mean, that didn't come out till I was older. So, like,
Hmm.
when I went to the library as a kid, I remember like this is like second, third grade. If I got horror books, they were like, I think they were just regular horror books because I don't necessarily know that there were people writing young adult horror books at that point in time.
Hmm.
So I don't have an opinion either way of the books, right? I mean, I know what they are somewhat, but I've read like R.L. Stein has a comic anthology that started coming out a couple years ago called The Stuff of Nightmares. It's fucking outstanding, and it's not young adult at all. And you could tell he recognizes, okay, the people that love my books are older now, so I don't have to put on the kid gloves anymore.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, whether or not he did, I don't know how racy, how gory, how violent the books were. I feel like from what I've heard, like they're probably more violent and gory than I think that they would be for that time. Um, but the whole point of these is they're supposed to be kind of like a teen movie mixed with the horror, violence,
Hmm.
slasher, whatever. So I really feel like those first three, especially that second one, man, they really nailed it. There's nothing I liked about this movie at all. I knew very early on.
Okay.
I was, I'm trying to keep an open mind, and like after like 20 or 30 minutes, I just said out loud to Kirsten, I'm like, this is not a good movie.
Fuck my life. Yeah.
And she's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah. And I just felt like they were so. See, Tori, I got it more from this than with Stranger Things. Now I might have a blind spot for Stranger Things because I love it so
Hmm.
much, but this I felt like they kept doing the thing where they're like, it's the '80s, right? Like maybe he doesn't get it yet, and it's like, no, I got it. Continue. Can you, instead of spending so much time on telling me it's the '80s, do some character development,
Yeah.
or you got a really awesome killer outfit. Can we see more of that? No, because I want to make sure you know that we're in the '80s. No, I got it. Can we move past? No, just trust me. And
Absolutely not.
the killer is just so fucking underused. I'm not. There's a big spoiler here that I'm just saying this now. And I I'm not going to say the spoiler, but there's something in it that drives me nuts, and it drives me nuts for multiple reasons. One of which is that the book that I just finished writing, that I've been writing for a couple years, does it, and now I'm like, I almost want to rewrite the fucking book
Oh no.
because everybody fucking does it,
No.
and it fucking makes me angry. Not because I came up with it first, I didn't, but it's just become this thing where it's like every slasher movie now. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This one too? Um,
It's like when you buy yourself a cool shirt and then you go out
yes,
in
and you go to
public,
school the next day and every motherfucker's wearing it, right?
or
Yeah.
like the really like funky person is wearing it and you're like, fuck, now I gotta burn this shirt.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I'll never forget getting on the bus after the Metallica show. It was like the Black Album tour, which is an album that, I don't speak of, but that was, I got into them like with Justice. So that was the first album that really came out where I was already an established fan. I just
Mhm.
like get on the bus with my Metallica tour shirt on. And my stoner buddy Ken Simchek is how I remember his name just now. I don't know. Sitting at the back of the bus and walking back to sit by him and smoke and talk about the Metallica show. Every fucking cheerleader on the bus is wearing the fucking Inner Sandman shirt with the wrinkled old man's big face on it. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Everybody on this bus went to Metallica last night. Okay, fuck y'all.
You're all son of
Um,
a bitch.
I'm one of those cunts. I was into that band first. But no, seriously, like it's just this device that's become like, it's become mandatory now. And it really bothers me. I don't know. I just
And there was like too many like fucking like sub characters were introduced and
and
that was it. And like in
they didn't do
passing,
it. There were so many people. I was like, well, who's that? Oh, they're gone. Okay, whatever. And then,
like
like,
you didn't even use it for their red herring. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
The third act got me because I was pretty sure I knew who the killer was. And then something happened, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. No. And I felt like it was the first moment they gave me an actual red herring. I didn't
Hmm.
know it was a red herring at the time. But then as things played out and my suspicion shifted back to my original pick, I'm like, oh, so now it's getting a little bit more interesting because I feel like now I have some legitimate question. Like, so I was more engaged. But until that
Okay.
happened, I wasn't engaged. I was just like, what? I don't know. And Missy, I brought up to Tori before you came on, before we rolled. Totally Killer is a great example of a movie that goes out of its way to be 80s, right? I mean, it's
Hmm.
built into the script because you have somebody from the current year going back to the 80s, and so part of the plot and the fabric of the movie is the comparison, right? And
Right.
it works. It's funny, it's poignant, and I've seen that movie 3 times now. I don't watch it all the time, but if I go downstairs and Kirsten's like, "You want to watch Totally Killer?" I'll be like, "Yeah, that's fine." I enjoy it. Whatever that has that this like wants to have but doesn't have for me. Like it's
Okay.
so
I
caught
think
up.
because Totally Killer knew what it wanted to be at the start, and it just like really leans into it. And that's part of
Hmm.
the fun of watching Totally Killer. Where this, I was like, this isn't fun. Like I was hoping the whole time it was gonna turn around or do something. But that's what sucks. Slasher is such a like fun
Right.
genre, and this one it was just kind of I was like, I don't even
I don't
care who
know.
the killer is.
Maybe also both of you had watched it before me, so I you had both like lowered my expectations a lot going into it.
And I try not to. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can.
No, it's okay though, because I mean I was watching it and I could see the things uh like especially you, Sean, there were certain things that would happen and I'd be like, okay, this pissed him off. This bothered him.
Yeah.
And like I knew exactly what they were. But then we get to a point where I mean the we're at the prom, we're at school, somebody's getting killed, and they use one of those paper cutter things and cut off this guy's hands. And there's blood spraying everywhere, and he can't get away from the killer because he can't open the door.
That's the best scene in the movie.
And I'm laughing my ass off, and I'm like, this, like, and I was having fun with it. I'm like, okay, this is not as bad as everybody was telling me it was.
Well, no, those were
And,
like that was great, but
That
then
scene's great.
I was like, yeah, oh, okay, that's it. That's all I get. Okay, cool.
and
I
And
mean, some of the deaths were pretty good. There was another. I don't remember what it was, but there was another death. It's probably the one, Missy, that you said was your favorite. I don't want to go specific yet, but like I didn't have a problem with the deaths. And again, I thought the killer's costume was fucking
the
great,
costume was cool.
and they just didn't fucking use it enough. Like I don't know. It really I felt like it just spent a lot of time building up shit that like ultimately I don't know. I don't know. I think ultimately, Tori, I think you said it the best. For me, it didn't quite know what it wanted to be,
Hmm.
and I think that definitely hindered it. So
I feel like maybe if they did another movie or maybe made this a little longer, like I'd have been down for another hour, like if you gave me a good story. But
Yeah.
the the whole traumatic event, we never see it. It's like
Hmm.
loosely talked about.
wait, let's go full spoiler so we can talk about this.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go full spoiler. So listen for the chainsaw, and afterwards, beware. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So one thing that bugged me is the backstory, the lack of that, and then trying to figure out the age of our main protagonist. It doesn't make sense with the story because if her parents were at prom in 78, that was only 10 years before.
Right.
Did they have her younger than a senior prom? I don't know. Like, there's that's bugging me. Am I wrong though? Did you guys
I've
make that
No,
already
up? Like with the
forgotten this. I
age?
don't remember this. I don't
I
remember this in the movie at
The
I could
all.
I could swear they said the parents' prom was in 78. And they make a big point of telling us that this is prom 1988.
and
So
then
that doesn't
yeah,
work.
and then you see both sets of parents, and you're like, they look older than 28 or what? Because what,
Wait,
18 at prom?
what was the I don't even remember. What was it? So the main characters' parents were killed at prom? I
No,
literally don't remember
so
this.
the main character, her father was killed before prom because they canceled their prom because it happened. And the main girl's mom was kind of to blame for his murder, but they could never prove it. So the main girl
Oh,
and her
yeah, yeah,
mom are
yeah.
like
Okay.
ostracized because
That's right.
she might be a murderer. But the timeline doesn't make
The
sense.
timeline doesn't make sense though. And they never actually tell us what the event it's like alluded to, but they never give you the full story of what the event was to begin with. Like what exactly happened to the father,
Exactly.
but
Not even a little
the
bit.
math is definitely wrong because I mean it's only been 10 years and if the mom was pregnant with her, there's no way this girl is 16 then. Or,
That bugged the shit out of me. And like once I kind of heard that too in the movie, it just like it was like an itch I couldn't scratch, and it just irked me. I was like, wait,
okay,
I'm
that's
shitty at
fair.
math, but hold
I'm
on a
shitty at
second.
math too, and I tripped on it and then kind of forgot about it until you brought it up. And,
Like, fuck, right? Okay, it wasn't just me. Now
but
I
no,
don't
it
feel
wasn't.
crazy.
Nope, you're not crazy.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, okay, but then the revelation happens that it wasn't the mother that killed the father. It was the mother of the other girl, right? Who's then
Right.
going to
No,
kill her. You scream like your
the
father.
father,
Yeah.
her Mr. Falconer is the one that
Yeah.
killed him back in the day.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
But the time the timeline doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. And also like okay, now I'm remembering. They almost really pulled something out where like when she's in the cop car and like it almost works. But there's just something I don't remember if it was how the one like the evil actress plays it or there was something where I was like, no, that I see what's happening here, and I was so bummed because it would have been a really good, like the whole thing. She goes home with her in the squad car. They drop her off, and it's really all just a setup, right, to kill her. I thought that was
Right.
it was a good idea, but it just I don't know. It just did not. They didn't earn it or they didn't execute it
I didn't care at
well.
that point.
Yeah, I was kind of
To
there
be
too.
honest, I just didn't give a shit.
I think they could have cut some of the I don't know. I did feel like they spent a lot of time establishing the social hierarchy, which
Mm-hmm.
that shit's all important, right? But I don't like they did things that were like red herrings with the popular girl's boyfriend who becomes like a love interest for the main character, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever kind of like there were things that I felt like they were, and it's part of like they couldn't decide. They were like trying to do a red herring there, but it didn't really work. And
I
I don't know,
thought maybe they were gonna do the vice principal or her son.
that was so.
Yeah.
I thought it was the mean girl's mom and dad. Then I was like, there's something about the vice principal or Lily Taylor's character and her son. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, that would be fucking awesome. And then very quickly, I'm like, oh wait, it's not them. It's not them.
Yeah, and the way they had like kind of, and that's what pisses me off about this movie, or not, well, kind of irks me, is you meet these characters that don't lead to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do spend a lot of time in the beginning with just setting up all these people, but you just get like flashes of them. You don't really get to know them They
Hmm.
spend more time showing you their rooms and,
Yeah.
everything on the walls just to, I would have rathered less of that setup and just kill more people later on. Give us more of the slasher killer because the mask and everything was cool.
Yeah, I could have used more of that. I think that I mean you don't want to overuse it, but I felt like it was underused.
But
And maybe
it
I
was
felt like it was
underused.
underused. It was underused, I think, because like you just said, and like I feel like we're all kind of pointing to if you spend that much of the movie on character development, and I don't feel like the characters are developed, and I don't even, there's all these things that you're alluding to, but you're not delivering on. It's like kind of like fake character development, and it ends up just, I feel like it just spins wheels and wastes time. And it
Hmm.
could have been super solid. They could have really had
Hmm.
something here, and I don't know. I mean, I totally get like the comfort food angle, the fun. It was.
But you could do that. I mean, you could totally like fucking rip off prom night. I don't give a shit. Like, have fun with
Right.
it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel for me, but you got to give me like a little something, you know?
Well, I think they were more concerned in kind of continuing this Fear Street style, right, than they were like ripping off Prom Queen or but I don't know. I just
But it's not even the style to me. It's such a like drop in quality, in my opinion.
do we know I would agree. Do we know if this is actually based on a book? An
I
actual
swear,
book?
Falconer, the name,
It's going
oh
to be
no,
filled with Easter eggs, right? Because I feel like they even referenced the first three movies. Because isn't
They do.
mm-hmm.
Because,
is Shady Side
yeah, it's always at Shady Side and
and what's the other
Sunnyvale. Those
one?
are the two,
Yeah, yeah,
Sunnyvale.
that's it.
But it definitely references the first one because at the very, very end of this, when Mrs. Falconer gets killed and like the blood and everything, it makes the symbol of the witch.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
Uh, Sarah Fear from the first three movies. It
Yeah,
makes
and
the witchy
actually,
symbol.
they say her name in it at some point.
It's
Okay,
written on the wall.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on the
that's right.
wall.
That's right. It's based on 1992's novel The Prom
Prom
Queen.
Queen.
Okay.
This is the first film in the Fear Street series to be a direct adaptation of a specific book. So,
That was going to be my question because I aged out. I read them for a little while in junior high, but I aged out of them quickly and was reading Stephen King.
mhm.
So I remember I read several of them and they were fun, and these kind of capture the feel of them, but I don't remember the specific books or how gory they actually were because they've really faded for me.
They're not necessarily gory, but for the age group that they're like aiming at, some of it is a little like, oh,
Okay.
with the like how people are killed or they find a dead body. So, I mean, not for us per se. I think at that age we were all reading a
We
little
were.
like that. I mean, I was still reading those and I was reading Goosebumps. I thought they were all because they were all great stories, but uh, they're a little bit more than you would think.
Okay.
I'm very curious because I do really like that comic series that I read by Stein, and like I said, it's good. It's not like for a young adult audience or whatever. It's just a solid horror book.
Okay. What was it called again?
It's called The Stuff of Nightmares, and it's like the first four issues or five issues were one story, and then they did two one shots that were both excellent, like better than the first. They're all good, but the two one shots I thought were really good. Um, but I'm curious, like if I were to try to read this, if the yeah, because there's things like okay, the Golden Compass books by Philip Pullman are quote unquote young adult, but when
But
I
they don't
first
feel
read
like it.
those, well, when I first read those, it was like my ex actually had to order them from England because they weren't published here yet. This is like early 2000s, and there's nowhere on those books that said young adult whatsoever. So when people started to like kind of roll their eyes when I would talk about them, I'm like, what do you mean young adult? And then working at Borders with Tori, we saw those books like really hit a stride with the film adaptation, all that shit, which, for better or for worse. But those books are not young adult. In my opinion, like they're better written than a lot of a quote unquote adult fantasy or science fiction. Like they're exquisite. So I don't know if this would be like, I don't know. I don't know if it would bother me.
I mean, like, so I still have most of my original Goosebumps. And at my age, they're still fun to read. And they're still like real, I mean, they're super easy to read, obviously, but
Right.
there was like really creative, imaginative stories.
Hmm. I never
Hmm.
read the Goosebumps ones because they were even like a younger age group. But I have thought about revisiting a Fear Street book here and there, like just a book to take to a coffee shop and you know.
Yeah, right.
Just like an easy read. It's just,
Hmm. Because I was kind of curious about how the kills would translate now. Like I remember them, like I remember them being kind of gory, but it's been 30 years.
Right.
I don't know what my imagination has filled in.
Right. Well, I
So,
overall I would just say I think it's going to be a polarizing film. I feel like the little bit that I see, because I generally don't read shit online, like people's opinions
hmm.
and comments and stuff, but I have seen, it's just quick scrolling through social media. I've seen a lot of stuff with people like kind of lambasting this. I think there's a definite quality drop from the first three, so I think that's going to be noticeable. And it's a shame, but as soon as I think it was Tori, you said like they didn't know who to market to. I think you're exactly right because the problem is with Netflix, they're probably first and foremost concerned with who they're marketing to, and then
mm-hmm.
the next item on the checklist
Hmm.
is like writing it and filming it, but first and foremost is the marketing. And I think this is probably like a maybe too many cooks spoil the broth. Like I don't know. Co-written by so it's written by Matt Palmer and Donald McCleary, and it looks like they've worked as writers together before, and directed by Matt Palmer, who did one other movie, um, Caliber, which is also a Netflix movie. So it seems like he may be kind of like an in-house director, which is great. That's
Steely
a good place to
Dan.
be. Yeah, yeah, exactly. A studio musician, right?
Steely Dan
Um,
of Netflix.
that's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed. Now isn't there I feel like there were two Fear Streets coming this year. Am I incorrect? Does anyone know? I could swear there were two.
I
Mm.
did not hear anything about a second one. I had only heard about this one. And in fact, I tried to look into it a little bit because I wasn't sure if this was going to be like another event like they did last time where we
Yeah,
got
where they released them a couple weeks apart or whatever.
hmm. Right, we got like one every month, or maybe it was, each Friday. I don't remember
I
how
think it was
far
more
they,
frequent than that. I think it was like the first two were like 1 week apart, maybe, and the second one was like 2 weeks. But or
maybe
the third one was maybe 2 weeks. But
something like that. But I didn't find anything. I think this is just a standalone movie.
well, I don't think that there's something coming to complement this. I think there was another standalone movie. I thought that I read that
Okay.
like a long time ago. But the push, the announcements for this go back now like probably 2 years. Um, which is kind of mind blowing that it took that long to make this movie because it doesn't look like it would take that long to make this movie. Um,
It looks like they originally wanted to do, the original director from the first three wanted to do and expand on the series about the milkman. That's from the first series. He was one of the murderers,
okay. Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting.
but that
That
didn't go through.
I definitely I also have to call into question in this day and age. I'm not saying you need to give me a 2.5, 3 hour movie, right? I'm not saying that. But when the runtime is, what'd you say it was, Tori?
It's like
Hour and 28 minutes?
128. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's like very, very close to being an hour and a half.
it it reminds me of that Pet Cemetery remake where I was just like, I just feel like they're like speeding through the checklist of what to include and forgot to actually do anything other than the bullet points, right?
They
Like
did.
it
That's what I'm
it could have
saying.
add another half hour, 2 hours. I mean, in 2025, anybody that goes to the theater on a regular basis sits through a 2 hour movie. Like there's very few times that there are movies that are under 2 hours now, I feel like. So I don't and this is Netflix. You're at home. You could pause it if you need to take a leak or grab some more pretzels or open a beer, right? So like I don't know why they were like, oh, well, keep it at an hour 28, I mean, why?
It felt so rushed and just so I like there was nothing. I don't remember the main girl's name because I didn't care. And like I didn't she didn't do justice to like the scream queens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt like she never came into like that power.
She didn't. Her friend was the one who was figuring everything out, and she was the one I liked.
And then after a while they stopped focusing on her because she was the interesting one.
I think they were probably trying to market to a younger audience than they should have been. It's like they were trying to market to the more teenage crowd and keep it real short because if it's too long, it won't hold their attention, like to the YouTube generation.
No,
When they should have
no.
been,
The TikTok generation. That I think you
Mm-hmm.
just hit the nail on the head. That's why it's an hour and 28 minutes long.
and that's why it's missing the mark and why it doesn't feel it's like it knows who it's marketing to. Because I think they're marketing to the TikTok generation when they should have been marketing and leaning more into the stuff for us, the people who would have read these books when they were in junior high.
It's no excuse too.
I mean, it's a passable slasher. It's nothing extraordinary, but I guess I was expecting it after talking to you guys, I was expecting it to super suck, and then it was okay.
I'm just thinking now, like the thing with that with Lily Taylor's son in the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was going to turn out to be her, the
Well, and
principal.
that's another thing. We're like, what was that? They like put a little bit of an investment in that character, like two or three times, for no reason,
Yeah, exactly.
because it wasn't a solid red herring, and just I don't know. Like, oh man, is they should have spent so much more time just with the main girl and the best friend, right? Like
Hmm.
if you could have focused on them, like they seemed to want to do at times, and they kept getting away from it. And then obviously with the mean girls as the antagonists and the love interest of the popular jock. I mean, it's I feel like so many movies do this successfully. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you could have just watched a bunch of other movies and gotten a feel for how to do it, but it just that's not what we got. It
It's literally giving somebody all of the ingredients, all of the simple instructions on how to do it, and you still like you
Yeah.
couldn't make the cake. Like what
Yeah.
happened?
I'm glad, Missy, that it at least scratched that itch for you. Um, because I really tried. I really, really tried. And I mean, I respect that the movie, it's a made movie. So it gets my respect for that. But also, uh, much respect to the creators. But, also you guys got to realize that, like, I don't know.
My
It's
time
it's
is
just,
precious.
yeah, my time is precious. And also, like, I don't know, there's just expectations with certain things. And it may not have been their fault. Like I said, I mean, Netflix is very corporate now. So, who knows?
But you had like what I don't get too is the first three like were successful and they
Yeah.
were like, you know what I mean? And they went for it. So this wasn't like new frontiers they were trying to get into. It's such a
So
bummer.
the question is, will this be Dimension films with Hellraiser where they're just like, we don't care what the fans want. We're just gonna fucking keep putting out shit every so often to keep the rights and make whatever we can and fuck all of you? Or is this going to be True Detective and like you go from great to shitty and then try like hell to work yourself back up into a, you know?
First of all, I like all those shitty Hellraisers.
But
At least they're creative. But
okay, fair enough.
I'm hoping I'm hoping True Detective is just a blip, but who knows? With companies like these, they have one bad season and they're like, you know what? Just pull the plug on everything.
Yeah.
Forget it. So hopefully just a little blip.
Well, hopefully there'll be another one and it'll be good. Or it'll be to my liking. I don't know, because, you know, I don't know. I didn't like this. That's Prom Queen Fear. Oh, I actually got it right. I tried to fuck it up, but I got it right. Street Fear Queen Prom.
Night Dumpster Baby.
Prom Night Dumpster Baby. There you go. Netflix, go with it. Go with it. Come on. It's like half the Toxic Avenger. It's half Prom Night. It's half Basket Case.
Trauma's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, right.
Hold on a minute.
Come here, bud.
Wait, why is Lloyd Kaufman calling me? All right, that's Fear Street. I'm Sean.
I'm Missy.
I'm Tori.
And don't go wandering around on Fear Street. You might get scared, you might get hacked up, or you might get disappointed.
Hapless teenagers beset by demons in the woods. A strange new drug that turns art into murder. A can't beat a deal on a new house with a horrifying past. A video game that might usher in the apocalypse. From the demented mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires, Shadow Play, and Murder Virus, comes Volume 4, collecting Baker's no sleep work along with several never-before-published short stories. This 99-cent volume also includes the opening chapter of the author's forthcoming teenage giallo novel, Black Gloves and Broken Hearts, due out later this year.